Alexis, please shut out that thing over in the corner. Shut off the lights.
It's not Alexa.
Yeah. Roomba. No, it's not Roomba either, but that's okay.
It's a Hey Google. That's what you got to say.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Google, shut off the lights. Thank you.
So dark.
That
You did it,
better.
though.
That sounds a lot better.
Yeah. Shut out the little dust collector.
I need a respirator.
It's not about respiration. It's about keeping my office less dusty.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that helps your respiration.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Cool.
I'm just saying I don't care about my respiration. I care about dusting less.
Understood.
But now it's going to be dusty because Mark shut my lights off.
That's right. That's right. As long as you don't start dozing on me, we're good.
I mean, it feels a little cozy in here with just the...
Yeah,
the
the
lights.
noise comes down. Welcome to How I See It with me, Mark Pratt, and
Justin Sternberg. This is a podcast that works to counter cultural polarization through thoughtful conversations.
the days are getting shorter.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's darker out.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I just really noticed it after coming back to our house.
Yeah.
From being in Pennsylvania. It's like, maybe I was getting up later. I'm sure I was getting up later. To where, like, when I was actually getting up at normal time, it's like, man, those 7 days or whatever, it's like, it seems dark now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
But I don't have to worry about the sun coming up and shining, like,
right in your face.
not that I worry about it, but yeah.
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 It makes you look so glowing when it happens.
I tell you, it feels like I'm glowing. So yeah.
We can switch sides one of these days.
Oh no, that would just change up the equilibrium entirely too much.
That's right.
Yeah, I like being able to see out the windows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Try not to be distracted.
I should put some mirrors on the other wall.
Yeah, you could do that.
I could.
Yeah, that would make your office feel bigger.
It would. Yeah.
In the process of a day. Wouldn't seem so confining.
And then I could do aerobics in here.
Yes. Yes. Put a little bar on the wall and
That's
you could
right.
do ballet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could.
You could.
It is an opportunity I could embrace.
You could. You'd have to move your record player and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
your toy shelves.
Yep. Pretty much. Pretty much.
It would be good.
Yeah.
So yeah, good to see you. How are you this morning?
I'm well.
Yeah.
I'm well. A little sleepy, you know.
Yeah.
When it gets a little darker in the morning, it does make you kind of feel.
Yeah, the
little
circadian
sleepy.
rhythms kind of
Yeah. They get a little
start
confused,
adjusting.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But good.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
How are you and your beard doing?
Me and my beard, I believe we are both well.
Good.
We are typically a package deal.
Yes.
So, like you say, to the degree that one of us does well.
You don't have good days, but your beard has bad days?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, us who can't do beards don't know that much about how beards work, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much beards do work, to be honest with you, at times. How about you and your tattoos?
Yeah, I think they typically follow my mental state as well.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
just out of curiosity,
Go ahead.
you are a man of tattoos.
I have some, yes.
Yes. And I know of different people who have them for different significance. You know,
Oh, yeah.
loss of a loved one or, just reminders of a time or a place or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say there are moments when just being able to see or, reflect on a tattoo can actually change your mental state?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How so? Help me understand that for you.
For me, it's kind of like how the Israelites would build
monuments, or I guess, what do they call them? Altars? Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
The remembering places, right?
Like, yeah, it's an altar. Build an altar. Like, take the
Yeah.
stones and stack them up as a reminder of God's faithfulness.
My good friend Brandon McCain.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll listen to this one and get the shout out. He always would bring up stones of remembrance in small group, to the point where the other guys would kind of rib him about it.
Okay.
He'd always talk about it. But yeah, kind of that. I mean, essentially that's what my tattoos are, almost universally. So yeah, I mean, the same way that an Israelite would walk past an altar that was built, 100 years ago, and remember why that was built, and kind of, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That's somewhat how my tattoos serve. But obviously they're with me every day, so it's not like every time I look at one I'm thinking about what it means, but there are times where looking at one makes me remember why, and kind of embrace that concept. And then there are other times where that concept is in my mind and I think about my tattoo. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 It goes both ways. It's a reciprocal thing.
Yeah. So
Sometimes the tattoo's a reminder. Sometimes the thought is a reminder of the tattoo type. Yeah.
Would you say
Yeah.
that concept applies to your beard?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's different.
Yeah. It's completely different. And that's where I was, it's kind of interesting as we think about beards and tattoos, because they are so different.
The differences and likenesses of beards and tattoos.
Exactly. But I think what the interesting part for me is, there is typically, I think everybody, I would dare say most everybody, has a bent or a view regarding one or the other.
Yeah.
Because I'm routinely reminded. I've had this for 5 years, and I still don't always realize that I have a beard yet.
Yeah.
In other words, I was, so long without a beard that it, off and on, after Lizzie was born, that's where the significance of the beard really came into play.
Oh.
That's what it was about, because initially there were so many people that would come up to Lizzie or Chris and I and say, "Oh my goodness, where did you get your red hair from?" And so those prior to my beard turning primarily gray, I would grow a beard in the wintertime and then keep it for a while, because it was at that moment, it was like, it was a tipping of the hat, if you will, to be able to kind of take some of that pressure off Lizzie. It's like, where'd that red hair come from? Oh my goodness, and so, yeah, from my ears down on my face is red, and it makes perfect sense. Yeah. But yeah, it was just that desire that started that. And then it just kind of, one day I just said, no, I guess we'll keep going, see what happens. And it's just kind of been a fun study, if you will, observation. I think I'm finally to the end of, my dad, if I may say so, saying, when are you going to shave that thing off? He's
five years in, and he's maybe starting to accept it.
Yeah, he's definitely accepted at this point. I don't hear those comments like that anymore in sarcasm.
Same.
Yeah.
With the tattoo.
But so yeah, that's been fun. And it's interesting because I just recognize that people view me differently. And sometimes it catches me off guard both ways. It catches me off guard, when a young kid at the, at Chick-fil-A drive-thru is basically, starts stroking his chin, and all of a sudden he says, "Nice beard."
Yeah.
It's like, you can tell there's a appreciation,
a
there.
Reverence.
Not quite. Well, hopefully not quite, but yeah, it's on that verge, and then, there's other times when you get the other side of the equation, what are you hiding, that kind of thing, and then typically I hear that in a church setting more often than not. It's like, what are you hiding? That kind of thing, that, there's something almost sinister about having a beard. So yeah, it's kind of comical how the different views you get.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you get that with tattoos as well.
Well, I was just gonna say about the beard thing, like that, the concept that it would be in any way polarizing, right? Like that there would be some people who love it, some people who hate it.
Sure.
Well, I guess visually, I think, I can think of wives saying, I hate when he wears a beard,
sure.
or I love it, that kind of thing. Of course that, but more like I wouldn't have thought of it being a stigmatic kind of thing, right? Like where
sure.
you might get, not have the same level of respect or trust because you have a beard. That concept never would have occurred to me.
No,
so
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways it is more generational.
Sure.
From that perspective, but it definitely has that definitely a polarizing context to it.
Interesting.
In that dynamic. And I think I think some cases it even depends on, I mean, when I think of my beard, I'm on the excessive end of beard growth type stuff. I'm not everybody knows me, I'm not necessarily, what was the Duck Dynasty guys, I'm not, my Duck Dynasty era is gone.
You don't have to untangle it from your belly button hairs.
That's right. But yeah,
there's a picture for you.
Exactly. I'm moving right along on that one. But yeah, being able to recognize that time is done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably stay on the longer side of a beard for me, because that's just that's where I think I want to be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I know it was a month or so ago you got a beard trim, and they trimmed it way more than you intended, right?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was like, oh, I can see old Mark a little bit. Like you could see the shape of your cheeks. I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember what Mark looked like before the beard.
Yeah.
And it does change.
It does.
The looks of a person a lot. It's crazy.
It does.
Do you know there's a guy in our church who had a big, long, red beard?
Yep.
Yeah. And he drove a motorcycle a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prince was his last name. Yeah.
And he shaved it once.
Yeah.
For I think it was for a no shave. It was like
I think it was for a no shave
where we were all gonna
contest.
shave and then grow a beard. Yeah. So he shaved it, and it was, wow.
Yeah.
The transformation.
Yeah.
Because we had only ever known him with the huge beard,
Sure.
So that was fascinating. But yeah, it is crazy how the transformation that can happen, and how different of a persona you can take on with a beard.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if persona is the right word, but like you look like a different person. So
No
it's
doubt.
like putting on a mask,
Yeah.
but maybe not, I would assume that's not how you treat it, but like it's like a different, I don't know.
I will say there is I can honestly say there are times when it can become a mask.
Sure.
And it's interesting to me because I know, and it just happened. I was actually, this past weekend, I went up to my family's in Pennsylvania, and I walked up to, I tried to stop a guy that I knew because he, takes care of my parents and, does a nice job of plowing them out in the wintertime. So I just wanted to definitely stop him and say thank you. And it was funny because he was definitely, he's far from overweight or anything, but he had put on some pounds from to where I wasn't necessarily sure of him because his body size was bigger. And it's like, I waved him down. It's like, I could tell he just didn't know who I was. And, I reached up, shook his hands, Mark Pratt, and it's, it's like instantly, the voice. And I can still remember even when I was doing community mental health, when I shifted out of that, I'm living in this area still. Mm-hmm. And it was neat to see when I grew the beard, that's like nobody recognized me. As long as I kept my mouth shut, my voice is a little bit distinctive, in that,
especially down here.
True. Valid point, where I am, location makes a big difference. But as long as I kept my mouth shut, I could see my prior clients, and I never had to worry about, it's like, oh, Mark, and that whole kind of thing that's, So it can be a mask, and it's been interesting. Yeah, I can admit that.
So it's been beneficial in the sense of not having to have an impromptu
Yes.
community health sessions in Walmart
Exactly.
on a regular basis. Nice.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
No offense to those people, but it's just, okay, that's not where I'm at anymore.
Yeah.
And yet, if
And
there's...
seeing you would be very triggering is the wrong word, but in a good sense. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he's the guy that makes me feel good. I'm going to go talk to him.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to think about that, and because there are people who won't recognize me who I might want to recognize me,
Mm-hmm.
and yet there are other people on the other end. It's like, no, I'm going to be able to just kind of walk right on by,
Yeah.
and as long as I don't say anything,
Yeah.
it's able to do that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. So as you think about the tattoos, I'm thinking about, for me, I think, what did you call me? I think you called me when I grew it out first, a beatnik. Did you call me a beatnik or something?
Me?
Yeah. It had something to do with an era that it reminded you of. Like,
I don't remember that conversation.
oh, I remember that conversation, but I can't remember the exact.
Beatnik isn't typically a word in my vocabulary.
Yeah, but it had something to do with like a 70s.
Lumberjack?
No, a 70s era type.
Hippie?
It wasn't.
Hipster?
It could have. I don't think it was hipster either. It definitely wasn't hippie.
Because that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I said, oh, you're trying to be a hipster. Because that's, if you know Mark, that's the opposite of what he's trying to be.
But either way, it was funny because I remember you brought up kind of like it reminded you of a social or a cultural era. So, and it's okay.
I'm completely
it's okay.
blanking.
I wasn't even offended, but it reminded, and that's where I was
Did
at.
I say no offense?
Not as far as I'm concerned. That would be a Markism. Remember, I said it was when I first saw, like you say, Markisms maybe weren't necessarily a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking about it from a cultural dynamic. As you see trends or circumstances come and go, have you noticed that with tattoos as well? That there are, I mean, granted, how old are you? 38?
40.
40. Okay.
On the dot.
So, yes, on the dot. Today's your birthday.
Well, it's the year of anyway.
Oh, okay.
The big dot. The year-long dot.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I was trying to think. Oh, yeah, it's been that long since it's been the F3.
What, 40 years?
No, 2 years, because it's like I'm thinking about it in the context of what you used to say.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, what you used to say, and I didn't calculate. Man,
Yeah.
that's all right. Well, at least you got Frisbee in there. That's the important part. But that's why I was going with 38. But in your whopping 38 years.
Yes. 40.
Well, yes.
Still 40.
Still 40.
Or at F3. Are we going back to F3?
On the dot of 40 years. Would you say you've seen, and that's where I'm at, this cultural dynamic of the ebb and flow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Describe that.
what's interesting is I feel like I've seen it with tattoos and beards,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like where their beards became insanely popular, right?
I don't
In
know.
the last, come on, Mark.
Well, probably since Duck Dynasty, I would say,
Yeah, maybe.
definitely had an impact on the bearded culture. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's where I'm not saying I was uninfluenced by that.
No, I
don't.
Again, you're the last person I think of as being influenced by culture, but there was definitely like I want to say the last 20 years, like a increase.
Okay.
Major increase to where beards were very popular and like mainstream, and the big beard, but like with the suit and everything, like it just became a huge thing
In the last 20 years, you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, like that was. I want to see that the arc was in that 20 years. Where
Okay.
it became very popular, and I want to say it's dipping now, and I almost want to say it tipped over into mustaches, right? So like Top Gun, for instance,
Okay.
wasn't setting that culture; it was kind of following the culture of like mustaches started to become a thing, and you can see like, a lot of younger guys like John's age sporting a stash, which those were gone for a long time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it from a mustache perspective.
Yeah, but definitely beards for a little while there. I mean, it was all the rage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you see that with tattoos?
Yeah, same in the sense of I'm going to go with that 20 years, but
really,
yeah, I mean, I'm just making numbers up, Mark.
I'm asking. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah, growing up, tattoos were more of like a certain corner of culture, right?
Okay.
Bikers, for instance, maybe musicians, maybe you kind of had an idea of who had tattoos. Right, you could picture that,
and it began, and that's where who had it would almost be a stereotype,
almost to where or
if,
would be.
If I saw a person with tattoos, it's like that
biker or a musician, or
biker musician, or what was the other one?
I don't know. I didn't
but
get there.
Okay.
But they probably weren't a teacher. They probably weren't a pastor.
Okay.
They probably weren't an accountant. Right?
Sure. I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say right along the same arc of when I was getting my tattoos, like it just became, I think it seemed like I knew more people who had tattoos than didn't. Like it just kind of tipped over to where it seemed like it was more popular to have them than not.
Gotcha.
And that's the same time frame I saw like some of the tattoo artists that I would go to, they just become insanely busy. Saw a lot more tattoo artists entering the field, so to speak.
Oh wow!
The guy that I go to, he would talk about it, in the sense of like just the flood of incoming talent. How he was kind of old school and kind of harping on they don't have what it takes. They need to go through the hard knock, whatever. That was kind of his take. But the market was just supporting anyone could pop up a tattoo shop and. That kind of thing.
Sure.
And you just say that's not how it's meant to be,
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely seen like a cultural shift to where, like it's culturally acceptable for just about any walk of life to have a tattoo. And you just think about, there's lots of pastors you see on YouTube, they have tattoos. There's, worship leaders, there's teachers, it's like there's no rules anymore really. Except maybe super, white collar, like, that might not be quite at the same level of accepting of it.
I gotcha.
I'm not in that world, but I definitely don't see the people I know in those, job areas. I don't see them having tattoos. I think it's more taboo over there, but like it certainly has seeped into just about everywhere else I can imagine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's no doubt. And I think it's interesting from my observation sometimes. It's like you may not, I think they have become in some ways, there's a difference between what I would call a discreet tattoo and a, straightforward tattoo, if I may. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like yours would be on the outside of your arm, all the way down towards your wrist type thing.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of times what I'll see is, those ones that catch you off guard or something, you are in church and you suddenly, there's a, worship leader who suddenly raises their arm and you see, underneath.
Peeking out from, the top of their, or
underneath their arm, right there at the edge of their, it's like, oh, okay. And it kind of surprises you in some ways, maybe, depending on, but
that one's a little bigger.
But even that one, your other arm kind of creeps around, but it's just, that's kind of an interesting, because I think there's almost like that. I don't know. I wouldn't know whether that was part of the rules dynamic, but yet there's that part of it that says, okay, I want to get a tattoo, but I don't necessarily want it out for everyone to see type thing. And
that's also too. Kind of the, often I'll see that be the starting pattern, right? Like, I don't know if I'm a tattoo person, but I would like to have one.
I got
right.
Sure.
So you get a discreet one, and it means something to you, and over time, it certainly wasn't my case, and I think a lot of people, it's like, yeah, I'm a tattoo person now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
sure.
it's like there's a difference between Yeah, there's a difference between being a tattoo person and not. And when I
Sure.
say tattooed person, it's like you no longer care about them being seen. You're not, it's not.
Gotcha.
There's no effort to be discreet necessarily.
Sure.
And I would say that's definitely the case for me. Like,
Sure.
I don't care anymore about that.
Yeah.
And almost the opposite. Like, I just want them everywhere.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And is that...
More, yeah. Kind of tying back to what you said earlier, they really are significant to me, and I enjoy that significance, kind of being represented to me personally. And every once in a while I get to talk about them, and I enjoy talking about them, what they mean and stuff. And
Sure.
because every one of mine means quite a bit.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe one, but even that one, it's
that your coffee
just
cup
a good
one?
story. No, my arrow on my hand.
Oh, okay.
That one I
Gotcha.
got in Cancun, Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, on a work trip.
Was that a bet or something? No, I'm just kidding. You say we'll
It sounds
a
like
trip
it, right?
to
Yeah, no,
Cancun on
exactly.
a work trip. It's like I
No.
lost a bet and had to get an arrow tattoo.
No, that was, by the time I got this one, I was definitely a tattoo person. So when they
Okay.
said, hey, a few of us are going to go off the resort and get some tattoos, I was like, yep, sign me up. That sounds like a fun memory. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
And it is. I love, and the arrow, I mean, it's, there's a few tattoos that I'm not necessarily proud of because of how they look. Like they don't quite have the quality that I would, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's definitely one. It's kind of just big, blocky, smeary.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can tell it's just.
I got you.
Can you tell what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
just kind
depending on how you hold your hand,
Yeah.
it can almost look crooked.
Yeah, you don't want that. You want a straight arrow.
You want a straight arrow, yeah. So I can understand
Yeah.
how your hand was positioned
Yep.
when it was done. Yeah.
Yep.
And when you put it in that position,
Yeah.
it's perfectly straight. So
Yeah.
nice job.
Yeah,
Tattoo
that's the
artist in
nature of
Cancun.
tattoos. Actually, is either A, you gotta have a tattoo artist who cares about what it looks like from all angles, so they'll kind of position it, stretch your skin, that kind
Oh,
of
wow.
thing.
Okay.
Or B, you just say, I don't care how it looks when I put my arm up. I mean, it's going to get distorted. That's fine.
Sure.
And there's definitely some, like my guitar neck, right? On my arm. When I
Okay.
do this, it also becomes crooked, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yep.
Which you don't want guitar necks to be crooked, just like you don't want arrows to be crooked. But,
Sure. But and it makes perfect sense the minute you put your arm out, like
Yeah.
you would have had that, the artist would have
Yes,
used that
exactly.
canvas.
Yeah.
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 It makes sense that it's,
Yeah.
perfectly straight. That's interesting to think about.
It is, yeah.
So, and that it's kind of interesting when you think about that. When you say now I'm a tattoo person, I want them everywhere. When you see somebody that has them everywhere, does that make you think that that person has that much significant to all of them? Or would you say
No.
there's a point?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would say
I'd
there's
say
a
there's
point.
a point where I just like tattoos. Let's get cool art.
Okay.
And actually, everyone's different. So it's
Yeah,
just
that's
like
what I was just
beards,
asking.
right? Like you can't. What is everyone's reason for a beard? Well, it's one of these three reasons. No, it's like everyone can have their own unique thing. And like I know some people who have a lot of tattoos, and they all represent a certain style.
Sure.
And it just has a certain artistic look. And in my mind, it kind of aligns with my kind of understanding how they're kind of an artsy person. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I don't, I don't know the stories behind everyone's tattoos. So that's part of it too, is like everyone might have different significance or none,
Sure.
right? Like I know a lot of people who go to the artist and say, do something cool, take your pick basically.
Okay.
Because they trust the artist enough. They have a relationship. They've gotten past that. Am I a tattoo person? Right? Like all
Okay.
those hurdles to where it's like, yeah,
Sure.
let's just get something cool this time. You pick,
Okay. Yeah.
and then the artist will draw something up. It's not like they just start.
Yeah. It's like you'll get a rendering of something.
Right. But
Yeah.
there are people who just go.
I
And
hear you.
people will do that. And I think
Wow.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would do that with my one guy that I've been going to for years.
Really?
But I don't think that would be my next one. And I can't imagine when the next one it would be that.
Sure.
Because I can't even get into him anymore. So,
Really?
yeah. Well, he's in Charlotte. And the last time I tried to book an appointment, it was a year out. And I had to
wow.
put like a $200 deposit down. And I'm like, $200 to wait a year? So I said no.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't gotten one since, and I'm sad about it.
So you're actually kind of itching to get another tattoo. Yeah. Do you even know what it is?
Ish.
Ish.
So I got the Sword of the Spirit on my forearm.
Okay. Yep.
And I would like to add some more of the Armor of God
Oh, neat.
in different capacities. Even if it's just kind of like background, like maybe you see a helmet through the leaves of the roses or something.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Sure. Put a belt of truth on your guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draped it over. It's the guitar strap, also a belt of truth.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's neat that, I mean, he's that booked.
Yeah. Real,
I mean,
real
sorry
neat.
for you. I'm sorry for you in all context, but
yeah,
I mean,
he works in Charlotte. They call it uptown, not downtown, right?
Okay.
So uptown, he works in uptown. So I mean, he's right in the thick of Charlotte, and he tattoos like Carolina Panthers players and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like getting into him's pretty hard.
Yeah.
But he's great, and I feel like we're friends. Like we get along great. We have, we spent many hours with him, both me and Megan, right?
Sure.
Like, last couple times we went to Charlotte together, kind of a road trip together, and got tattoos. And,
Nice.
yeah. So
Yeah. So would you say you and Megan were both tattoo people at the same time, or was that a transition? Did you initiate that process, or did she initiate that process as far as the two of you? I don't know you, but I've known you that long to know who's came first type stuff.
The first tattoo I got was the first tattoo she got, which was our wedding rings.
Oh, okay.
So we got a little cross, like wedding ring tattoo.
Okay.
So we both went and got that together.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and that kind of kicked it off for both of us, honestly. And
Yeah.
I have more than she does because, I don't know, just I got some quicker, and then she wanted some more, and then we now we kind of go together. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, but yeah.
So
I
that's
would say it was pretty even.
yeah. That's why I was curious as far as, so quite often you'll go at the same time.
Yeah.
And then you'll just spend a day.
Yeah. Hanging out, chatting with tattoo artists.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of a fun experience. I mean, it's painful.
Yeah.
There's some people.
Mystery loves company.
Yeah. There's some people act like tattoos don't hurt, and I'm just like, you're full of garbage.
Oh yeah.
Or that, or again, everyone's different. So maybe it really doesn't hurt some people, but I think some people just act tough. They're very uncomfortable. I do not enjoy the process.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So conversation is almost necessary to just try and keep your brain occupied.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take Megan along as moral as support.
That's right.
Yeah.
Moral support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, our first tattoo was our wedding rings, which obviously the significance there is pretty significant. And,
yeah.
That's
neat.
Yeah, it was actually hard to find people who would do wedding rings at that time. We went to a few shops, and they're like, yeah, we don't do those because people regret them later.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, because divorce rate and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we're, we were both like, well, we're going to have these the rest of our life and we're going to be together the rest of our life. So this is actually perfect. What you're saying, the reason you don't want to do it is exactly why. It's like, so we did find some. And then the other thing too is a lot of times they would say they wouldn't go all the way around the front because it would just fall out from calluses. Like, there's something about your skin on rough parts of your body that tattoos won't. They call it falling out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
you still wanted to go all the way around.
We both got them all the way around. And the thing is, ours didn't fall out, but they do get very. I mean, you see it's like kind of mottled looking.
Okay.
It's not as.
I just
crisp.
see the lines more so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's all it is. Yeah, it's just the lines. But yeah, you can see that they're kind of broken up a little bit. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it goes all the way around for both of us. So
yeah,
we did find someone. And for being the first tattoo, I mean, pain level, I'd say it was. For all my tattoos, is one of the more painful ones.
The first one
on my finger, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, certain areas of skin, of course, are going to be more.
Especially when you got in this like kind of web the side.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It was unpleasant, real unpleasant. And it felt like I'm like, oh, this would be quick. It felt like it was hours.
Oh wow.
Just because it was that painful.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. It was probably 30 minutes. I don't know, 40.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Who went first, you or
Me.
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Now-
she went and she acted tougher than I did, so that's pretty typical.
So do you have a wedding ring also still?
Somewhere. I haven't
Okay.
worn it since I got this, and Megan hasn't either.
Okay.
Part of the reason we got it is because Megan is a hairstylist, and she was getting reactions to the white gold with the shampoos and stuff she was using. It would
really?
start to cause rash under her ring and stuff. And she really loves her ring. It's a beautiful ring, but it's just like became one of those work liability things, you know.
Okay.
So we're like, well, this, allows us to always wear wedding rings no matter what, you know. It's like we don't have to take it out. You know, a lot of guys have to take them off when they go work out or, you go swimming, whatever it is. We don't take ours off. They're always on, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool in that way. Like as far as commitment goes, and it's a very great symbol of that to me. And again, I wanted to go all the way around because that's the symbol of a ring, right? It's like that kind of universal thing. So like that combined with it being permanently in my skin, it's just like a cool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then the second one I got was very significant as well. It's this one on my left arm. I think that's my second one.
You think so?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my second one. And that's the first one with my guy. The first one wasn't, the rings weren't with him. But.
Okay. The guy in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't in Charlotte. He was in Wilmington.
Oh, okay.
By the way, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you met him, he was in Wilmington, or when you, and then he's since moved to Charlotte.
Yeah. Which
Wow.
is real sad.
Yeah. Huh. So in the context of combining tattoos or, that kind of thing, how many different tattoos would you say you have? In other words, times that you've set.
Yeah, sessions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I counted that one.
Okay.
That's at least 11, yeah.
So your next one will be your 12th, what do they call the 12 stones? You'll be your altar tattoo type. You'll complete for all the
nice.
No, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to beards. Transition back to beards.
Well, let's do one more.
Okay.
As far as the tattoo, I'm curious as far as if in those 11 tattoos, what would you say, if you can, what would be the primary significance? What would be the reminders that in general they offer? You follow me?
Yeah.
If you don't, I'm not asking you to share something like completely personal or
happy
whatever.
To share. So yes, I'll try and go in chronological.
Because granted, the first one was, basically.
Yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah. Being
like,
married to Megan and just that significance of that relationship.
Yeah. And it was just, it's so cool that we did it together. Like it'd be one thing if one of us did it, but
sure,
just doing it together that's a significant thing in and of itself.
Sure.
I thought that was my second. It's not. This was actually my second one.
Okay.
It's an ampersand on my arm.
Okay.
And next to it is it's an, if you don't know what ampersand is, you're just gonna have to Google it. But it's the and sign, right?
Okay.
The squiggly and sign,
right.
And next to it has AMP semicolon,
right?
And it's just it's very nerdy.
Okay.
So this one probably has the least significance, except that it represents kind of the two sides of my personality, or like the creative side and the analytical side. So the ampersand represents graphic design kind of thing, because that's what, that was my career for a long time.
Sure.
And then AMP semicolon is actually the HTML code for an ampersand.
Okay.
So in order to put an ampersand on a web page, you have to type ampersand AMP semicolon, literally that, to get just that output on the page.
I gotcha.
So it's just kind of like this meta concept of like, I don't know.
This graphic artistic
design,
versus
code.
this code.
Yeah.
Yes.
How it's, and almost the redundant
Analytical
nature, this
side.
looping of this ampersand. You need an ampersand to make an ampersand. I don't know. It's just like,
I gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah. The complexity of who you are.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
There's more to this than meets the eye. You might see
Yeah.
the script,
Right.
the scripted Justin, but then
Right.
you might also catch that artistic, free flowing.
I mean, for what it's worth, you're giving it way more beauty and thought than probably I ever did. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it represents that complexity of who Justin is.
Kind of the duality.
Sure.
The polarized nature of who I am.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then the next one would be this one on my left arm, which is a picture of a rose inside of a moonshine bottle.
Oh, yeah, I see the trace X's there.
Yep. And then it's got a ribbon wrapping around it. And on the written is written, I don't have time to maintain these regrets.
Okay.
And that's the lyrics from the song, How Jesus Loves Me.
You and Me.
No, that's the old one. What's the song called? It's like Love's Like a Hurricane.
That's Rich Mullins, right?
No.
Does it?
No, it's Mark Millen. Close.
Okay.
two
I don't have
two
time
near
to maintain
misses.
these regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. You're the music guy.
And then at the very bottom, it's got my life verse reference, Romans 8:28.
Okay.
And it's kind of a tribute to the guy that was my mentor, who I grew up around, and he ended up dying from addiction. And so kind of represents, the moonshine bottle kind of cracked, but there's a rose growing out of it. Just the representation of beauty from ashes, and how, and I don't have time to maintain these regrets, is this idea that we're not meant to dwell in the past and who we were, but move forward and bloom into what we're supposed to be, kind of thing.
Sure.
In Romans 8:28 is all things work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. And it's really about what that represents. Like, even moonshine bottles can represent, turn into something that's beautiful and can represent his purpose.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one I actually drew up myself.
Oh, wow.
My own version.
Complete with the moonshine bottle?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and all that. And then he took it and made it his own style. Based on my drawing, but it was pretty much that. And this was actually inspired from my friend Joel Winstead. He had a very similar one with the moonshine bottle, but slightly different. And also a flower coming up, but it's kind of a slightly different, kind of a beach scene in the background, stuff like that. But so it was also kind of a nod to him. He's kind of like a brother to me, so it's kind of like solidarity with him. That's his dad that died.
Yeah.
That it's kind of a tribute to. So, yeah, that one's very significant for just a lot of reasons. It's got a lot of meaning wrapped into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one hurt because it got up near the armpit, and that's a bad place.
That's a tender spot.
It is.
Yeah. So what did you do what did you do when it really hurts? What do you do at that point?
You just flinch and
you just like grit your teeth, or
I mean, you'll get a headache if you grit your teeth the whole time. It's hours,
I got you. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's like just trying not to think about it.
Okay.
So usually that's when I'll try and think of a question for the artist or something, just to.
Okay, so that's how you get to be such good friends so quickly.
Yeah.
It's like
And tattoo artists are kind of like,
really, I didn't do it. Stop! I'll tell you anything.
Exactly. Yeah, they know everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, Megan always talks about how her chair is kind of like a counselor's, chair or whatever. Like she ends up having a lot of intimate conversations with her clientele.
Sure.
And I think tattoo artists is probably very similar because you're just stuck in the same place for hours. And they, of course, learn how to. I mean, their primary job is doing the work, but their secondary job is like keeping you engaged or whatever, and not hating.
Kind of like dentists and chiropractors. And all that. They ask those questions.
Yeah, they kind of know how to engage.
Get your mind.
Yeah.
Someplace else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Neat.
So he's pretty good at that. But I mean, I could go on.
No.
Yeah.
And what's the one with the North Star type thing? There's like a galaxy type.
This?
No, up there.
In the back.
No.
Yeah. So it's all connected. So. There's like a Saturn in the back.
Yep.
And it wraps around to the front. It's just like some galaxies and some stars, and then there's a constellation.
Yep. With the crown, the constellation of the crown in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it just represents like the grandeur of the universe, and the crown represents basically Jesus being kind of the Lord of it all and the creator of, the cosmos and everything in between. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. Some of your tattoos you can't even see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the back.
You don't see Saturn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get compliments on that quite a bit, but I'm always like, yeah, I bet it does look cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit sad because that's a cool one.
Yeah, it is a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your Lion of Judah there.
Yeah, I think this is mostly Aslan.
Is it Aslan? Okay.
But both. Honestly, it's both.
gotcha.
Because Aslan's kind of, right, a representation of Jesus, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's kind of that, but that was inspiration. This is probably my favorite one.
Okay.
Just because it's so bold and also very good. Like, he did a really good job of just making it.
Very
although
realistic.
It could use a touch-up to make it pop again. But, yeah, it's very realistic, and just, like, the look on his face.
Yeah.
Is just very, like, serene.
Yeah.
But not... Like, there's a quote about Aslan. Is he safe? He's not safe, but he's good.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
no
that's
doubt.
like, to me, that's the look he's got. Right. And
Yep.
so I'm very happy with that. And then I have a quote here from the book it's saying, "You would not have called to me if I had not been calling to you." And it's kind of got this filigree around it and stuff that kind of ties into the lion.
Nice.
So, yeah. And that's a quote from the book, but also it's, very theological, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That one may be my favorite.
That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all my favorites.
Yeah.
It's like my children.
So if I may ask, what when you got your lion, what was the significance? What did Megan do at that time? Was that a shared one as well?
Yeah, that's when she got her blue shoulder tattoo.
Okay.
And it looks like China, like on an old plate.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And for her, the significance...
Not the country.
Right.
Okay.
Not China or whatever. China or whatever. No, China, the plates.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It kind of has that blue...
Oh, neat.
There's it's a name for that blue color, but like that's on the old china. And for her, it's kind of like a tribute to her grandma, and
neat.
like she had some of that china and stuff, and yeah. So it's kind of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate you sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the beard joke, real quick.
Beard joke,
or not real quick? No. Well, you can make a beard joke if you want.
No. I just if you.
No, I was gonna ask you. Do you plan on keeping the beard the rest of your life? Is this the permanent mark?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but I've thought about it. Like you say, there would definitely. I think it would definitely come down to a significant circumstance for me to shave it, type thing, because it was just, yeah. But yeah, this is probably here for a good while.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
What would make you say, yeah, it's time to go? Is there a particular thing in your mind that says, yeah, that would warrant being done?
Like, I'm saying if, like a skin cancer type thing or something, where,
practical,
it had to be
wise,
removed for a health standpoint, or
you wouldn't be that stubborn. You're like, I'm keeping it.
No, definitely not. Or on the same scale, if Chris said it's got to go, that would be,
yeah,
that could be a help. No, but seriously, that would, yeah, I can't think of anything, right now.
Yeah.
It's not, I guess I don't see it as necessarily a whimsical thing to where, I see
There's no whimsy in your beard.
There might be a mouse, but no whimsy, no. But
there's a few that kind of fly off that are whimsical.
Yeah.
Flyaways.
That's part of it too.
That's the whimsy.
That's the whimsy.
So I'm sorry to break it to you, Mark.
Yeah, when the barber took off when it trimmed it that last time, he called it I cut some of the wolfie out. He called it wolfie.
Wolfie.
So that's the whimsy went with the wolfie.
Yeah, they kind of went hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't want to lose the wolfiness.
No,
Yeah.
no, like
Yeah.
you say, I think that's, you know, it is kind of like that. I don't like, excuse
You
me.
like a water?
I know I'm good. Now I'm good. I apologize. It is kind of like that, your Aslan tattoo to a certain degree. I'm not a, you know, I guess for me, a beard is a beard from my perspective, you know, and it's like, if it's just a half-inch long uniformed haircut on your face, you know,
It's not a beard. This is a beard.
kind of like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
not, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something there that says, okay, this is unique. And I think that's part of the reason for growing it is like, you know, I think for me, my beard is a part of my uniqueness as I've been created, you know, in that process. And I think, you know, definitely having that. Sorry, I'm not crying. But
you can cry. It's all right.
I can. But I think it was part of that early uniqueness that basically said, okay, this is my connection to Lizzie, and Lizzie and I have, and then it's just kind of grown into, you know, here again, that uniqueness that says, okay, this is one of a kind.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's many beards, but only one leg marks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've never been able to grow a legit beard because it's just too patchy. So what
Okay.
ends up happening is I can grow a mean neck beard if you wanted.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I could have a nice thick neck beard. But like the extent of where the hair grows kind of stops right at the chin strap kind of thing.
Okay.
So I'm just not a fan of that look, you know. But,
Yeah.
But there are many guys who grow beards like that, and I'm not saying that's not good for them. I'm just saying I don't prefer it on myself. But I've always wanted like to be able to do like the legit cheek filled beard, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's just it doesn't work out for me.
That's okay.
So I'm glad that you have
Yeah.
can have it for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I, you know, it's funny because I'll recognize there was such a era in my life, you know, kind of growing up clean shaven, to where I can recognize, you know, that it was a step at first, but I think, you know, like many cases, you know, when you develop a significance, or when something takes on a significance, you know, and that can be something much greater than a beard, or, you know, even a tattoo, you know, when something takes on a significance,
Yeah.
you know, that's when I think it becomes important, and it's kind of becomes part of who we are.
Folds into your identity.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 That's a good way to put it. That's definitely how I feel about my tattoos as well. Where
go ahead.
it's not distinct from me. It is me, you know?
Yeah. And I think, you know, as I want to broaden it even to a certain degree, I think that's what jewelry can be,
Yeah.
you know, for ladies.
Well,
you know.
speaking of hair, because you're talking about beard, but Megan definitely has talked about that a lot with being a hairstylist, how for some women it is them, right? Like it is their identity, this particular hairstyle, or just, you know, having it be nice is just part of, it's an identity thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that in the context of, I think we can all have different things that we kind of use to gain our identity from.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, those can be good things.
Yeah.
Those reminders of who I am, or that ability to recognize my uniqueness.
They can also be bad, right? Like if we're going to come back to the polarized idea, right? There are some things that become part of our identity that actually are unfortunate, right?
Sure.
Like that we, you know, and again, this coming back to conversations I have with Megan, where sometimes if the haircut's not quite perfect, it can become like a devastating few weeks for that person, you know.
Oh, wow.
So,
Sure.
which I totally get. I really do. I don't like a bad haircut either. You
Yeah.
know, and just like when you got that trim on your beard, it's like, you know, there's going to be a few weeks where you just don't quite feel myself, you know.
I hear you.
But I think that's okay. But I also think there's some danger and like you don't cease to be you because your hair looks a little different than normal, or your beard, got cut
or
short,
the things we get our identity from.
Yeah.
To where if my job or a certain bank statement level, number, if that's where my identity is, and suddenly that changes dramatically, my job or my account takes a hit or something, that can be significant.
Mm-hmm.
And
very true. Yeah. So there can be some negative aspects to that, of course. I think even tattoos, like, like I said, now I'm a tattoo person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can be a dangerous identity, right? Like, and that's not my goal at all. But for me, one of the things I do love about tattoos is that they are permanent and they are literally a part of me now. Like they are me, like you can't detach them without, significant laser efforts, that kind of thing. And I enjoy that about them. I enjoy that once they're on, I'm committed. It's you and me the rest of our life. This is, and so far I have no regrets. Like I said, there's a couple that aren't my favorite looking, but they still represent significance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I don't have any regrets about any of them. And you were talking about stigmas, right, with beards and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of going back to the decline of or increase in popularity is where I can honestly say I don't remember getting or maybe I'm just not observant enough, but I don't feel like I get any kind of flack for having tattoos.
Oh, really?
I feel like they're just common enough now.
I gotcha.
To where you're not shocked when you see someone up on the stage in church with a tattoo.
Sure.
It's almost like, well, it's not a shock thing anymore.
Right.
And like I work from home, so from a work perspective, it's not weird, like, I don't know. It's just interesting. I can't recall ever feeling shunned or, And in fact, I really, really enjoy talking to people who are much older than me, like veterans, that kind of, I don't know, like, I really enjoy engaging with that generation. And I don't know why, but I just do. And I feel like I always have really engaging conversations with that generation that I would think would be the one to kind of, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so to me, it kind of speaks to, perception is not the same thing as reality. So if you act like a shady person and you act kind of closed off or whatever, you might get some perceptions. That's not how I usually enter relationships or rooms or whatever. I kind of try and keep my eyebrows lifted and engage people, and that's just kind of my personality. I enjoy that, like kind of having that engaging personality, and I've found that I assume because of that, I never kind of have experienced that stigma that I assumed would just come part of it. Does that make sense? I thought I assumed it was just part of the package deal because you hear lots of stories about, well, they had tattoos, so clearly they're shady or whatever.
No, I got you.
But I feel like that's kind of maybe died off, or maybe because of, like I said, I don't know if I can disassociate from who I am to say that's part of why I don't experience it. Maybe it still really is a thing, and I don't want to speak for everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring it because I think of different businesses that I've been in. Not me personally, but like stores like Costco or something like that. And occasionally you'll see a person who has a sleeve partial or a piece of cloth, partially over their tattoo. And it makes me wonder, is that business basically saying, we're not a proponent of that? Or is it something that person has had tattooed on there that could be offensive, based on the different images that can be put on the skin? That's kind of it. Whenever I see that, it does make me wonder, okay, is this a business?
That's true. I mean, all of my tattoos are very benign, and there's nothing offensive. Yeah. Right? Like for any
unless
walk
you're
of
offended
life.
by tattoos,
right.
period.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. But you probably aren't offended by guitars or roses or lions or planets.
Yeah.
So.
And didn't you? I thought you. You've definitely got. Oh no, it wasn't you. It was another worship leader that I know who had gotten to good discussions with a professor, a guy I know that you went to Liberty.
Okay.
He would definitely get into arguments with professors about, biblical significance or the interpretation of tattoos being okay.
Right.
And I had you mixed up with that person
Yeah,
for
that would be a
moment.
very interesting discussion, but I haven't really had that much pushback.
You've never had anybody say,
my dad definitely and my mom were definitely not proponents of it, and I had at least one pretty decent conversation with my dad about it and just kind of explained some of the meanings of them. And I said, whether it was kind of like whether you accept that they're acceptable in God's eyes or not, like you have to understand the meaning of them and what they mean to me in terms of me and God, and I think that really shifted things for him in the sense of like, it's not just putting, blasphemous ink all over your body, but there's something more to it. And it seemed for him to kind of make a difference. But that doesn't mean he has come around to where he thinks they're
he's
okay.
not a tattoo guy yet.
No, he's not a tattoo guy yet. Yeah, I'm working on him.
I hear you.
No, I don't think that he'll ever be. But I think he's definitely come to accept that they are me, right?
Sure.
They're not going away, and that kind of thing. And yeah, it's not really a topic of discussion hardly anymore. But
Understood.
for a while there, it definitely was.
I bet.
Did you get any more? Kind of thing. Kind of like your dad. And when are you gonna shave that thing? Kind of that same.
Yeah.
Same
that
kind
same
of
tone.
feeling. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, neat.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, Justin.
You know what I think you need to do, Mark? I think you need to get a tattoo of a beard.
Oh, you think so? I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Maybe I'll get a tattoo of a beard.
You could have your beard tattooed on. One you want that's up in. You know?
I don't know if I could get the. Yeah, that's right.
Kind
the
of like
the cheek
Aslan,
beard.
the Aslan mane type look. You could,
But I wouldn't be able to have any of the whimsies flying.
Yeah, they'd be pretty stationary.
Yeah.
It would only be the difference between your smile or your frown that would make them look like it had some flow or whimsy to it. But yeah. Would you ever do a tattoo on your face?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So I can't envision the desire to have one on my face, right? Like, like the front.
Yeah.
But definitely like on my neck or, different things.
Below your ear type neck.
Yeah, or like really anywhere on my neck. But I wouldn't want the full neck. Like you see it. There's a lot of tattoo artists that they just go all the way right up to here.
Yeah.
Like
look
right
like
under
a
their
turtleneck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of that look. But for as far as significance goes, like if something's poking out up there on your neck or something, like the one that always comes to mind when people ask me is like a sword, right? Like if a sword came down across your chest and up on your neck or something like that. Or I've seen like cool roses, that kind of thing. So there's two sides of this equation. The first is would I? Yes. Would Megan allow it? No.
You would do a face tattoo?
Well, neck again. I don't know.
Neck, but not face. Anything basically from the chin to the forehead.
I don't think so.
Ear to
but
ear.
I also am not saying.
You're not getting a teardrop anytime soon.
Right.
I got
I think I'd have to kill someone first. Maybe if I kill someone.
Okay. In that
not
context.
ruling it out. No, I think that's generally my attitude towards it. Is I wouldn't rule it out. I have no desire to do it, but I also wouldn't if the right symbolism was there.
Sure.
But I can't imagine the right symbolism, so no, I wouldn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was just curious because
but to me, it's not like a thing. There's not a line there that's drawn. So, but also, it is very significant to have one on your face. So I would want it to be as significant as it can be. And again, I can't really picture that making sense.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Megan wouldn't let me, so it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just curious because I think there is that part of it that is different about a person who, because I think there is that from a psychological standpoint, I think, that tattooing on the face is an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
That's why I was I was just curious what your perspective was on that.
Again, if I did it, it would have to be supremely symbolic to where, Mark, if you saw it, you'd be like, I know why he has that.
I gotcha.
And almost like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't just be...
He got that because he wanted to grow a beard and couldn't.
That's right.
Yes,
Exactly.
now I understand.
Exactly.
It makes perfect sense.
Just trying to keep up with my favorite bearded guy.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
It's been an interesting little reflection here.
That's right.
And so being mindful of where our identity is, knowing that first and foremost, our identity is in Christ. And yet there are a lot of things that can remind us of that journey and draw us in, like those like those altars, that God's faithfulness or a perspective. And neat.
Yeah. And sometimes our identity in Christ is multifaceted, and sometimes it has whimsy hairs that fly out. Like there are parts of our personality that also reflect Him in ourselves that are unique to us. And for you, it's your beard, and for me, it's the tattoos.
Yeah.
And I think, but like you said, also that danger of, letting it become something else.
Yes.
Don't let your beard become an idol, Mark.
That's right. That's for sure. That's how we see it.
Hey, thank you for listening to our podcast. If you like How I See It, please do all the things that podcasts tell you to do. Subscribe, rate, review, follow us, and or talk nicely about us on social media. If you want to reach out, the email is us@howiseeit.click. Yep, I said .click, as in .click. Please tell your friends about this show, and we'll see you on the next one.